Welcome back. Day 2 of the teardown of our Mercruiser 4.3 V6. My previous video, I had removed the coupler. It was 4 nuts on top, 4 on the bottom that hold the shield. I removed the starter. There was 2 bolts to the starter. Prior to that, disconnecting the cable, the red one and the orange one, on the positive post on the starter, and then the small little solenoid cable. Remove those. The ground cable was on the motor mount bolt. I had to remove that, put the motor mount back in. Every bolt I put back in, if I can, where they originally go. I removed the coil pack that goes to the distributor. I removed the distributor out. So I'm tearing everything down piece by piece until I can put the block on the engine stand. Our next project is to remove the flywheel. We're going to take the flywheel out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. That flywheel come off, I can put it on the engine stand. But because it's really a heavy motor, I don't want to put it on the engine stand with these risers on. These risers are like 40 pounds, maybe even 50. They're heavy, heavy riser. I never expected the exhaust manifolds to be so heavy. So we're going to remove both of those, but before we remove them, we got spark plugs on each side. We have to remove those because if you remove this and accidentally go down, it will break them spark plugs right off. So it's better to get the spark plugs out. Once we remove the spark plugs, I'm going to disconnect the fuel line. But once these 2 exhausts are off, we can put it on the flywheel and continue to tear down everything. So let's get to it. I'm old school Mechanic James. Let's get to it. Got a 1/2-inch Work Pro impact wrench. I've owned a couple of Work Pros. I really like these. I don't sponsor that company. Maybe one day they'll recognize my videos. But I really think these Work Pro impact wrenches and any kind of impact wrench with batteries work perfect. This is a 2.4 battery. I also have them on my saws and my other, so they're interchangeable, the batteries. But they work really good. Get right to it, pull out the bolts like it's necessary. There it is.
Blake Hill right there, retiring from The Voice. No longer going to be a coach on the show. Getting replaced though by Reba. Looking forward to that. Houston's country leader.
Now the way I do it is I put everything in order. I like to line everything up. Took off the cover, the firewall, the stern, starter, alternator, distributor, wires. Everything here is in order. The way I take it off is the way I put it back on. I take everything off, line it up, then everything goes back on the way it's supposed to. Alright, let's get to it. Now a lot of you young guns got a good memory. You can remember what bolt goes where. You know this just came off the flywheel. Well, I'll set them down, come back an hour later, and say, what did these bolts go to? Because I'm old timer, I'm old school. I don't remember. I can't remember. So this is for the old guys out there. you still love mechanical work, and you want to keep an eye on everything, where everything goes, that's what these are for, plastic bags. I'll put them all in the plastic bag, nice and neat, close it up. I'll even write on there, flywheel bolts. It's that easy. It's not complicated. Just so when you get to a certain age, you can't remember things. Is this a video I'm taking here? Is this going on YouTube? I don't know. I just keep moving. Keep moving. That's how you stay young. So let's go on in near the flywheel. All right, let's get after that spark plug. I use this socket here because if you use a spark plug socket, it's very tight under them exhaust. You could break that spark plug. So you just move the smooth 5/8 socket, get in there, pull them plugs out. Three down, 3 to go. A matter of 5 minutes. There we go. We'll inspect these, we'll look at them, we see there's a lot of black carbon on them. I did not have a good gas mixture in this boat motor. I think a lot of gas got through the cylinder wall of the pistons. A lot of gas in the firing chamber of the cylinder, so they got pretty black. We'll clean them up because I know these plugs are brand new, but you want to inspect each one and take a look and see what's going on with your fuel mixture. Okay, so we're gonna move these exhausts. They're really, really heavy. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 bolts. I think they're 9/16, but we'll double check. We're gonna move them real slow. You move the outside ones first. 2 on one side, 2 on the other side, pull them out. The middle is where you wanna concentrate. Get that last one, the one before the last one, start holding on to that riser, that exhaust, because it's heavy. We're gonna get her out. Four down, 1 to go. I love my impact wrench. We're gonna bring her down a little bit just in case my 67-year-old body and arms can't hold that weight. I drop it, it ain't gonna break too much. Hopefully it won't break at all. These things you don't want to break, they're hard aluminum and they will crack, they will break. So you gotta be extra careful. So we're gonna lower it down a little bit. Okay, 1 bolt left. I told you she was heavy. It was a good thing I took her to the ground, because that thing with one hand here, one bolt there, whew, man, it's heavy. You'll find out. Now we can remove the dipstick, because that won't come out until you get that exhaust off, and then it'll come out of the location. Oh, what a beast. Whew. Woo, baby. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Also, I want to mention about these clamps. Every clamp that I loosen up on a water hose, fuel line, oil line, take them loose, slide them up, and then tighten them right back down a little bit. That way you won't lose them. Sure, you can pull them off and throw them in a big old bag or on the shelf. Then you got to figure out which one goes where. And that's pretty easy for a young gun. Old timers, it's easier just to slide it on, tighten her down. Leave her right there on that hose. It'll be there when you get back to it. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Okay, there's 6 bolts. I said 5, but there's 6 bolts. We're gonna do the other side. I gotta raise it back up, get it kind of eye level so I get a good angle. Good angles are the best way to take off most things. You know, if you're gonna get a socket on a spark plug or a bolt, get a good angle. Don't bend it, don't go down, don't try to wiggle your way around. You want to come out straight. Every bolt you come out straight. Get it at belly level, eye level. It'll be a lot easier. Make sure everything's clear, everything's out of the way. I noticed I got a hose on this riser still connected. On this exhaust, this hose has to come off.
Houston's country leader, and we are right in the middle of your commercial-free country playlist, 9:30 to 11:30 every workday morning, right here at 93Q. Been flying solo for so long, nobody singing the harmony. Up there just me.
Again, move the clamp, move it up, tighten it right up. It ain't going nowhere. It's gonna stay right there. It's out of the way. Now these holes are very, let me say, breakable. You can cut into them. Be really careful when you take screwdrivers to them. Just slide under a little bit, loosen it up. Do the sides, because maybe it ain't been off in a month, a year, 10 years. Just stretch that rubber around your exhaust. Just loosen it up. You don't want to rip it. You don't want to cut it. Otherwise you gotta buy a new one. Save some money. Okay? Just work your way around it. It'll loosen up. You don't have to force it. I see a lot of guys yanking and pulling and tearing it and say, I'm rich. I got deep pockets. I can afford it. Hey, I got a lot of nice things because I take my time and I don't want to break these things. God's been good. That's it. Come on, baby. Just work your way all the way around. Just keep loosen up the rubber. It'll get loose. Once it gets loose, ta-da, comes right off. Not an issue. Easy way to do it. Alright, let's get back to the other side now. 6 bolts. Okay, once again, I get 5 out, 1 left. Bring it down. Don't break anything.
Family comes first. Welcome to
It's a lot easier that way. Like I said, it ain't light. Them little suckers are heavier and shit. Oh! Guess what? We got her up. Ugh. I swear to God, they gotta be 40, 50 pounds. I'm not a bench press person. I used to be back in the day. But them things are heavy. Woo, I tell you. Let me tell you. There they are. And it don't matter where you put them or how to identify them, because only one will go one way and the other one will go the other way. So it don't matter. They can only go on back on one way. Okay, we're done. Turn all the heavy stuff off. We're gonna raise it up, put it on the engine hoist. I'll show you how to do that. Stay with me. Okay. Now, because I've already done this once before, my engine block should be lined up with the bolts, the bolt holes and the bolts. Get everything out of the way. I disconnect these from the engine stand. Get them out of the way. Everything's a lot easier. So I've already got these adjusted to where I want to put them on the engine block. If you don't have them adjusted and it's your first time using this and you haven't done it, just loosen all these up. It's the easiest way to do, loosen them up and place each one. I go 2 to the outside of the upper block and 2 to the bottom part of the block. It's the easiest way. It's the most stability of the block, so it ain't going nowhere. That block will stay on that stand. I always keep my bolts right here on my engine stand, so they're right here available. Start bolting it up. Put washers behind them. It's a lot easier. That way they won't go nowhere. Once you get 2 started, you're on your way. Now don't strip anything because you're going to be in trouble. Try not to strip anything. I believe these are 9/16 bolts. You do a little at a time. You don't have to do all of them at once. All at one time. Just do a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. Make sure they all go in all the way. Okay? Most people stop right there using this. This ain't gonna give you the kind of torque on them bolts that they need. This will tighten them up, but you need a little bit more of this. Right here. Old school. Keeps you young. So I'll put a ratchet on it. Just to get a little bit tighter. Little bit tighter. Don't strip it. Don't over tighten it. Snug them up a little bit more. It ain't going nowhere. Alright, so we're ready to put the engine stand on. It's somewhat easy. All you gotta do is feed it. If I got it high enough. Oh yeah, we're halfway there. Gotta go up a little higher. Better get it right off the ground. Hang on, man. Yeah. As long as you can pick up that engine stand, get it right off the ground. Get these things back in here as quick as possible. Alright. We're going to go up and bring it down. Kind of in the way a little bit.
Luke Combs could be featured on a fast car. You catch his face slapped on Bubba Wallace's number 23 Toyota. You can catch that with the Cooper Zero Sugar 400 this Saturday in Daytona. Right now, though, Dennis Williams, 93 Cuba.
Now we can come down. Nice and slow. There'll be some fluid coming out possibly. Keep an eye on that too. Hey, we did it. We're there. Okay, clean up my mess here. Get everything out of the way. All right. We're done. All right. Stay tuned. I'll get back with you on the next video. I don't want to run this too long. You might get bored. We got the engine out of the boat. We got all the fluids drained, everything disconnected. We got all the exhaust off, all the other outer components. We're down to where we're going to start breaking down the block. I got to take off the intake manifold. The thermostat will stay with the intake. You don't have to disassemble the thermostat. Leave it right there. That whole intake and the carburetor will come off. Valve covers. Move the motor mount bolts because this engine I'm gonna take it down to an engine builder and let them look at it. Maybe they'll even check it for cracks. I don't know, but I got an issue. But once we get into opening up the oil pan, we'll see where we're at. Maybe it's okay. Maybe there's not an issue. For some reason, this thing was knocking. This is my second time. The first time I put new bearings in it, threw it in, gas got into the oil, and I heard a little knocking noise because the oil was so thin. There was gas in the oil, maybe with water too. I don't know how it happened. So maybe I need new head gaskets. Maybe I need new gaskets on the risers, the exhaust risers. There's a aluminum gasket that goes there. I didn't put a new one on. I know it's a little brown rusty spot around it. Maybe water got into the exhaust, got into the intake, got into the valves, went down into the oil pan. We're gonna tear it down and make sure we're doing it right this time. I'm gonna put everything brand new in it. No wasting any time. I spent 3-4 weeks putting it in the first time. I pulled this out in one day. This is my third day working on it. So really it's just part 1 video, part 2 video, and next time will be part 3 video. Stay tuned. See you guys soon. I'm Old School Mechanic James, live from Houston, Texas.